Pecha Kucha 276, Japanese Spider-Man, and Smiley Saturday. So this week I updated my manga studio to the latest version. I discovered the Japanese version of Spider-Man that was licensed probably in the 70s. And on Saturday, I did my first Saturday of Smiley Saturdays. I'll talk more about this later. It ties into, actually, Bison Tuesdays and the Pecha Kucha Sunday. These are the days where I do things that I just do them so that I can say that I did them, and it makes me more likely to do other things in the future, I'm finding. So this is M. Bison riding Harley Quinn on a Harley. So it's M. Bison on a Harley on a Harley. That's the joke. Is it funny? I don't know, but it was something to do. This is the thing about the Bisons. I can't just keep drawing a picture of M. Bison. He has to do stuff, and that makes me that pushes me in strange directions. At least in terms of creativity, not art quality. I'm in and out as fast as I can be. I also drew a kind of a rough ink picture of Ghost Rider just because, again, I'm mostly spending this month trying to keep my hands moving on a Cintiq, not on a gaming pad, while I kind of focus on the psychology of avoiding thinking about gaming. So, Japanese Spider-Man. Someone uploaded all of the Japanese Spider-Man with Italian subtitles. You don't need words when the show is this insane. I'm going to just kind of gloss over some of the subtle differences between the Japanese version of Spider-Man and the more familiar American counterpart. This, on the left, is Professor Monster. He's from space. He intends to conquer the world. He's the primary and I think maybe only antagonist of Spider-Man. Spider-Man got his powers from another space alien, which he uses to... he uses his spider bracelet to power the sports car he has, which can also fly and seems to shoot its engine off as a weapon. It's a fine car, and it's very nice that it also seems to have the power of clearing all the roads, because I never see him sharing traffic with anyone. The car, which can fly, docks with Spider-Man's spaceship, which turns into a giant robot, which he uses to beat the giant monsters that show up at the end of every episode of Spider-Man, because this is actually Power Rangers, but they have the guy wearing a Spider-Man suit. And if you need any more proof, the primary enemies that aren't the antagonists are putties with, I guess you'd say, crowbeaks. I'm very impressed by the backflips and the jumping and the spinning that all of the cast do. This is before special effects like CGI, and they're really putting the work in. I'm a big fan. The thing that got me into Japanese Spider-Man in the first place was a little video of Spider-Man saying he's an emissary of hell. Among other things, when he does his triple camera poses, where he'll pose and then the camera will jump cut to the pose from a different angle, or a different pose from a different angle. It's insane. I love it. It's so bombastic. I just did an airbrushed picture of this, just, because one day I got out of bed and it's like, well, I don't want to do my manga book this month. I just want to focus on the psychological element of me trying to choose to do art. And part of me updating Manga Studio is that it now comes with a user interface similar to Steam, which is to say, when I open Clip Studio Paint, it kind of makes me have to open something else before I can open it. Adobe also has a similar kind of thing. The two reasons why I even bothered to make this choice was because I now have access to a shit ton of 3D models installed in the program, which I can trace, move around, and use to reference background elements and create backgrounds. And if I actually bother, I can download full backgrounds, but it gets so complicated, it's crazy. There's also the liquify tool. This is the thing I realized I didn't have when I kept getting upgrades. It just lets you... It's like a warp transform tool. If you don't know what that is, it's a Photoshop thing. Don't worry about it. It just lets you make things wavy and blurry, unless you're creative enough to find a use for it. We'll see where that goes. But while I was kind of losing my mind over the interface being the same but different, I decided this week to start doing smiley shows every Saturday. So I decided, let's just try a 7-page format and let's just do 7 pages. Let's not worry about any of the details. Let's not get lost in the details. Let's just figure out how to tell a smiley show and not freak out over the workload or the content. So I was just like gonna make a cutaway joke about stately Wayne Manor, and it just turned into the first page. It's basically what this is it's Vegeta and Smiley are talking. I don't know what's going to happen until I figure out panel by panel what's going to happen. So Goku shows up and he's dressed like the meme where he's wearing, I don't know, drip clothes. I don't even know what you'd call it, right? He's wearing like a hoodie that's modern and black clothes, and he's cool. And it was supposed to be a throwaway joke, and then it kind of turned into what the entire 7-page thing was about, because, you know, I ran out of space to talk about anything else. I really did enjoy figuring out the jokes as I'm going, and figuring out the art style as I'm going, and just screwing around with layout. There's a lot of what I would call, for me, experimental layout, where I'm not necessarily as constrained by panels as I typically would. If you look at the stuff I usually do, it's like Watchmen. Loads of things in loads of boxes. But since looking at manga recently, I'm like, maybe let's move away from that. So, yeah, the plan is, going forward, every Saturday is Smiley Saturday, like every Tuesday is Bison Tuesday. Maybe it doesn't have to be all day, maybe it does, but I will be working towards creating 7-page Smiley shows, which I will, I guess, unceremoniously dump on Tumblr when I go back to dumping my work on Tumblr. When I do, you'll be the first to know. So that brings us to the end of Pecha Kucha 276, and I will see you next time.